Somewhere around the early 50s, life can start to feel different. Not in a dramatic, movie scene kind of way. More like a slow change in the air. You wake up and the body isn't quite the same. The sleep isn't quite the same. The patience isn't quite the same. And sometimes what's even stranger, the things you used to want so badly, the things you chased for years, they don't hit the same anymore. The job title, the bigger house, the nice car, the packed calendar. You can have all of it and still feel this quiet question rising up. What is this all for? A lot of people don't talk about this out loud, because from the outside, everything looks fine. And maybe that's the hardest part. Because when you're struggling and things are clearly falling apart, at least it makes sense. But when life looks stable and your heart feels heavy anyway, that can feel lonely. It can feel confusing. It can feel like you're failing at something you're not even sure how to name. Tonight, I want to offer a different way of seeing this season. Not as a breakdown, not as a punishment, not as a sign that you missed your chance, but as a doorway. In Buddhist language, we might say, this is a time when the results of your past begin to show themselves more clearly, and when a new kind of goodness, what we call merit, can begin to lead the way. But don't worry, we're not going to turn this into a lecture. We're going to walk through it as a story. A simple story about a man in his 50s and a small light from an old temple. And maybe, somewhere in that story, you'll recognize a little piece of your own life. Before the story begins, let's make one thing clear. When many Americans hear the word karma, they imagine something like cosmic revenge, like a scoreboard in the sky. You did something bad, so life is coming to get you. But in the Buddha's teachings, karma is less dramatic than that. Karma simply means intentional action. What you do, what you say, what you repeat, and how those patterns shape your life over time. It's cause and effect, not punishment, not reward. More like the echo of your habits, the momentum of your choices, the tone your heart has practiced for years. And merit, sometimes that word makes people uncomfortable too, because it can sound like you're trying to earn goodness the way you earn points at work. But merit, in a simple way, means the goodness that strengthens the heart, the kind of goodness that makes you steadier, more compassionate, less reactive, more awake. Merit can be built in big ways, but most often it's built in small ways. A kind word, a moment of patience, a breath taken before you respond, forgiveness, generosity. In modern terms, you might think of it like this. Karma is what happens when you keep practicing stress, resentment, rushing, and control. Merit is what happens when you keep practicing calm, kindness, honesty, and letting go. And in the early 50s, many people begin to notice something. Life starts returning the results of what you've practiced, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And that inner result is often what matters most. Because you can be financially stable and emotionally exhausted. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. You can be admired and still feel like you're not really home inside yourself. So let's come to the story. There was a man named In, and In was right around 50 years old. Not young, not old, just in that middle place. The place where life often feels like it's split in two. The first half where you build, and the second half where you start wondering what you built it for. In had done what many of us were taught to do. He worked hard. He paid the bills. He stayed responsible. Over the years, he earned enough to buy a home. He bought a car. He did the things you do when you're trying to be a decent adult in this world. And if someone looked at his life from the outside, they might say, he's doing well. But inside, In felt empty. Not sad all the time, Not hopeless, just hollow. Like the main song of his life had gone quiet, and he didn't know what came next. He didn't even know what he wanted anymore. And this is where the story becomes familiar for a lot of people. Because emptiness in midlife often doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives when the distractions stop working. The same vacation doesn't reset you the way it used to. The same achievements don't give you that warm feeling for more than a day. The same entertainment leaves you numb instead of refreshed. And sometimes you look at your own hands, your own face in the mirror, and you realize time is moving, not in theory, in reality. One night, In was driving. It was late. The kind of late where the world feels quieter and your thoughts get louder. He was on a road he'd driven many times. But this night, something caught his eye. In the distance, a small glow. Candlelight. A temple sat back from the road, old and simple, and the candles inside were lit. And In didn't know why, but he felt pulled toward it. Not like a command, more like a gentle tug. Like some part of him, some tired part, was craving a different kind of atmosphere. So he slowed down. He pulled over, and he walked toward the temple. Inside, it was quiet. Not an empty quiet, a living quiet. You could hear crickets outside. You could hear the wind in the branches of an old tree. A Bodhi tree-like, the kind we associate with the Buddha's awakening. And under that tree was an elderly monk, sitting with eyes closed, still. Not stiff, not tense, just settled. In stood there for a moment, unsure. Then he bowed awkwardly, like someone who doesn't do this often. And he said, "Venerable sir, I'm already 50, and I don't know what to do with my life." The monk opened his eyes, and he smiled. Not a big smile, a small, gentle one. The kind of smile that says, "You're not the first person to arrive here carrying that question." And the monk said softly, "At this age, life no longer asks what you want to gain. It begins to ask what you have already given." That line landed in In's chest, because his whole life had been organized around gaining. Gaining stability, gaining security, gaining respect, gaining enough. And suddenly, in one sentence, the question shifted. What if life isn't only about what you can get? What if it's also about what you can release, what you can offer, what you can stop carrying? In didn't have a clever response. He just sat down. And for the first time in a long time, he let himself be quiet. The monk spoke again, gently, like someone lighting a lamp rather than throwing a spotlight. He said that in this season of life, around the early 50s, many people begin to meet the results of their past more clearly. In Buddhist language, we might say, old karma begins to show its face. Not always in dramatic ways. Sometimes it shows up as health issues, sometimes as relationship strain, sometimes as anxiety, sometimes as regret. Sometimes it's not even bad things. Sometimes it's simply reality getting louder, impermanence becoming undeniable. And if that sounds heavy, here's the important part. The monk didn't say this to scare In, he said it to free him. Because when you understand that a season has a purpose, you stop panicking inside it. You stop thinking, what's wrong with me? And you start wondering, what is this season trying to teach me? The monk explained that karma can't be escaped, but it can be transformed. And again, we can say that in modern language. You can't erase the past, but you can stop feeding it. You can't undo what happened, but you can change how it lives in your body. You can't control everything life brings, but you can choose what kind of heart you bring to it. And in the Buddhist path, the way we transform karma is merit. Merit is the goodness we build now to meet what arises with wisdom and compassion, rather than fear and anger. Listened. And like many of us, he probably wanted a simple checklist. Okay, how do I fix my life? But the monk wasn't offering a fix, he was offering a direction. Because in the early 50s, the direction matters more than the speed. It's not about sprinting, it's about turning toward what's real, turning toward peace, turning toward a life that doesn't require you to pretend you're okay when you're not. If you're listening right now and you're in that season, maybe your body has changed, maybe your energy has changed, maybe you've started noticing how quickly people disappear from your life. Retirement, divorce, empty nest, grief, or maybe everything is fine and you still feel unsettled. If that's you, it doesn't mean you're broken, it might mean you're waking up. In the Buddha's teachings, seeing impermanence isn't depressing, it's clarifying, because once you really see that things change, you stop trying to build your peace on things that can't hold it. You start building your peace inside. After that night, In started returning to the temple. Not every day, not like a fanatic, just often. And each time he did something simple. He lit incense, or he lit a candle, and in his heart, he held a quiet intention. May this goodness guide me. Now, we don't have to make that mystical, because an intention like that does something very practical. It reorganizes your mind. It reminds you what matters. It trains you to look for a deeper kind of wealth. And slowly, subtly, In began to feel calmer. Not because his life became perfect, but because his inner weather changed. He stopped fighting reality so hard. He started listening more. He started pausing before reacting. He started noticing what made his heart tense and what made it soften. And then something interesting happened. Work that had felt stuck began to loosen, not always dramatically, but in small ways. A conflict resolved, a misunderstanding cleared, a heavy pressure eased, and his health strangely began to improve. Not like he suddenly became 25 again, but his body felt less inflamed by stress. He slept a little better. He felt a little steadier. In Buddhism, we might say, old merit began to wake up again. But in plain language, we could say, when you stop running your nervous system like an emergency, your body responds. When you stop living as if everything is a threat, your health softens. When you stop carrying so much resentment, your heart becomes more spacious. Merit, in this sense, is a kind of inner medicine. Not a guarantee, not magic, just a real shift in how you live. But then came the moment that revealed what In was truly practicing. Because it's easy to feel peaceful in a quiet temple. The real practice shows up when life pokes the bruise. One day, someone from In's past appeared, a person who had harmed him. We're not told exactly how, and we don't need the details, because most of us have someone like that, someone whose name still tightens our chest a little, someone who made us feel small, or betrayed, or used, or forgotten. This person came to In and asked for help, and immediately In felt the old fire rise, not just anger, a whole storm. After what you did to me? Now you want something from me? The mind does this, doesn't it? It brings up a courtroom. It rehearses old scenes. It replays conversations. It rebuilds the past as if we could win it this time. In didn't know what to do, so he went to the monk. And he asked, and the monk said something very simple. When karma returns, respond with merit, not vengeance. That is the heart of ending karma. You do not escape karma, you transform its form. Respond with merit, not vengeance. That doesn't mean becoming a doormat. It doesn't mean ignoring boundaries. It doesn't mean pretending something didn't hurt. It means something deeper. It means refusing to let the past control your heart. It means refusing to keep drinking the poison because someone else handed you the cup. It means saying, "I'm not living in that fire anymore." In sat with that. And maybe he realized something painful but true. His resentment had been costing him for years, not the other person, him. Because resentment is a kind of unpaid emotional labor. It drains you in the background, even when you think you're fine. So In tried. Not perfectly, but sincerely. He chose a response that didn't add more harm to the world. He chose compassion, or at least a step toward compassion. And in Buddhist language, we could say he turned karma into merit. But in everyday language, we could say he broke the chain. He stopped the pattern from continuing. He chose a life that didn't revolve around being wounded. And that is one of the great gifts of this season in life. In your 50s, you begin to realize you don't have time to carry everything. You don't want to. You start wanting a lighter heart more than a louder victory. Let's widen the lens for a moment. Because suffering isn't personal. It's human. And history shows us that entire generations have lived through the same turning points, the same loss of certainty, the same question. What now? Think about the Great Depression. In the late 1920s, many people believed life was becoming steadily better. Progress, opportunity, growth. And then the floor dropped out. Jobs disappeared. Savings vanished. Families were forced to rebuild from almost nothing. For many people, the old identity provider, achiever, successful collapsed overnight. And what replaced it wasn't just poverty, it was fear, shame, uncertainty. But something else emerged in that era too. People learned a kind of wisdom that comfort can't teach. They learned how to live with less and still keep dignity. They learned how to share, how to help neighbors, how to find meaning in small acts. They learned what truly matters when the outer world can't be trusted. In Buddhist terms, you could say, a whole generation was forced to confront impermanence, not as a concept, as a daily reality. And many people, through that suffering, found something steadier than money. They found a stronger heart. Not everyone, not romantically, but in real ways. Resilience, humility, community, gratitude. And that's part of what this season in your personal life can be. Not a collapse, but a revelation. A chance to rebuild your life around what actually holds. Not what looks impressive, not what people applaud, but what makes the heart quiet and honest. In the Buddha's life, aging was never treated as failure. Aging was treated as truth. A teacher that arrives for everyone. Because no matter how successful you are, no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how careful, the body changes, the face changes, the world changes, and eventually, loss arrives. But here's the beautiful part. Aging can refine the heart. It can simplify the mind. It can reveal what is real. In the early years, we chase. In later years, we start to see. And if you're listening and thinking, I don't like getting older, that's okay. No need to pretend. But perhaps we can hold a gentler question. What if aging is not only decline, what if it's also awakening? Not a dramatic awakening with lightning bolts, a quiet awakening. The kind that says, I don't want to waste my remaining years on bitterness. I don't want to spend the rest of my life performing. I want to live in a way that lets me breathe. One of the teachings emphasized in your transcript is this. Consistent merit outweighs grand acts done once. And that's such a modern lesson. Because American culture loves big gestures, big transformations, big announcements. But the heart doesn't change through announcements, it changes through practice. A calm heart is built the way a garden grows, slowly, daily, quietly. You water it, you pull weeds, You return again and again, and you don't always see results right away. But one day you notice you're not reacting the way you used to. You're not trapped in the old story the way you used to. You can breathe through things that once knocked you over. That is merit, not a trophy, a strength. Another line from the core teaching is, mindfulness is the highest merit. Let's make that very practical. Mindfulness isn't about being calm all the time. Mindfulness is simply noticing what is happening in you without immediately becoming it. Noticing the anger before it speaks. Noticing the fear before it drives. Noticing the sadness before it turns into numbness. For a lot of people in their 50s, mindfulness becomes essential because life gets real. You can't just push through everything anymore. The body won't let you. The heart won't let you. So mindfulness becomes a kind of dignity, a way of living that says, I am here. I am not abandoning myself. And that is merit. Because when you stop abandoning yourself, you stop abandoning others too. Let's talk about forgiveness, because it comes up again and again in your transcript. And forgiveness is one of the hardest words in the English language, because it's been used badly. It's been used to pressure people, to silence people, to keep peace on the surface while harm continues underneath. That's not what we're talking about. In a Buddhist sense, forgiveness is not approving what happened. It's not saying it was okay. It's saying, I'm not going to keep living there. I'm not going to keep letting that moment rent space in my body. I'm not going to keep carrying this fire. Sometimes forgiveness happens quickly, but often it happens in layers. First, you admit the truth. That hurt. Then you admit the cost. I've been carrying this. Then you begin to loosen your grip, not for them, but for you. And sometimes the most honest version of forgiveness is simply, I'm willing to stop feeding this. And that alone can change your life. Because resentment ages the heart. But forgiveness, even partial forgiveness, softens it. And a softened heart is a kind of wealth, a kind of freedom. One more idea from the core teaching. Letting go is not indifference. It's understanding without suffering so much. That matters. Because a lot of people fear letting go. They think if they let go, it means what happened didn't matter. Or I'm weak. Or I lost. But letting go is often the strongest thing a person can do. Because letting go means you stop trying to control the uncontrollable. You stop trying to rewrite the past. You stop asking life to be fair in the way your mind demands. And you start living in what is. Letting go doesn't make you cold. It makes you free. In the story, by the time In reached 55, his life wasn't perfect. He wasn't suddenly the richest he'd ever been, but his heart was richer, meaning it was lighter, clearer, less tangled, and he looked in the mirror and he could smile. Not because everything worked out, but because he wasn't lost inside himself anymore. He understood something simple and profound. Inner peace is real wealth. Not the kind you show off. The kind you feel when you lie down at night. The kind that lets you face aging without panic. The kind that lets you face death not without sadness, but without terror. That's not a fairy tale. That's a direction. And that direction is available to anyone in any season. But many people begin taking it seriously in their 50s because time feels closer, and the heart becomes honest. As we close, I want to offer 3 invitations. Not commands, not tips. Just gentle invitations you might try if they fit your life. First, 1 quiet minute a day. Just 1 minute. No pressure to feel peaceful, just sit. Feel your breath. Notice what you're carrying. And let your body know at least once a day, I'm here with you. Second, 1 small act of goodness, done consistently. Not a grand gesture, something simple, a message to someone who's alone, a moment of patience with a stranger, a kind word to your partner when you're tired, a small generosity. Merit builds like that. Third, one softening toward the past. Not forcing forgiveness, just softening. Just loosening your grip by 1 inch. Because the point isn't to erase the past. The point is to stop living inside it. In Buddhist language, old karma is met by new merit. And wisdom is not fearing karma, but responding to life with a freer heart. Closing. A blessing, 2 to 4 minutes. If you've been listening and something in you feels tender or quiet or seen, may that be a beginning. Not a perfect beginning, just a real one. May you find moments of calm in the middle of modern life. May you find the courage to let go of what is too heavy. May you meet aging not only with grief, but with wisdom. And may your heart learn, little by little, that peace is possible even here. And if you'd like, you can whisper a simple word, sadhu. It means, well done. It means, may goodness grow. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time.